Putallaz, thank you for joining us. Lovely to have you here today. Lovely to talk to you about boats. So you're the co-founder and CEO of MobyFly, and I can see you've got a beautiful picture of one of your MobyFly prototype in the background on Lake Geneva. Is that where it is?
Yes, we're based on Lake Geneva in Switzerland, with a fantastic and beautiful lake, one of the biggest in Europe, and very beautiful mountain surroundings. So here it was late spring, this photo, so you can still see some snow on the mountains.
Yes, excellent. I think we were talking before that there's not so much snow now. You've had a very warm end to winter, or early.
Well, we had a very good start in autumn with a very cold winter, tons of snow. And this week we went in less than 2 days from -1 degree to +14, 15 yesterday.
Wow, that's a heat wave.
And 24 hours, in January in Switzerland, we should be around maximum 5.
Yeah, okay, so big difference. I did want to ask you, how did you get into the maritime world? Because you were in management consulting, but you've ended up in maritime as a co-founder and CEO. So how did that journey come about?
Well, if you see my professional background, I always have been in technology. So even in the consulting area, I was in the technology area. So that is the common how do you say in English? But yeah, that was
the thread that goes across it all.
Yeah, that was the common thread. It's my passion for technology. And I'm absolutely convinced that the technology can help us save our ecosystems and make us more green without taking out our comfort due to modernity. So I'm absolutely convinced that we can put together human comfort that we achieved in the last century, and still save our ecosystem and respect them. And the link in between, it's really the technology that I think can help us achieve that goal, still have our comfort and respect our planet and save our ecosystems.
Yeah, brilliant. And commercial operators are the ones, obviously, that MobyFly are aiming at. Ferry operators mostly, and maybe tourism operators. Can you tell us a bit of what does MobyFly offer? What is the MobyFly boat about?
Well, when we co-founded the company with Anders Bringdahl and Ricardo Bencatel, our real ambition is to allow the transition of the ferries, and we targeted especially the fast ferry market that represent more than 10,000 routes in the world. And majority of these routes are between 0 and 100 kilometers. And the biggest growth is between 0 and 50 kilometers. And today, everyone looks at the airplanes and the pollution generated by the airplanes, and it's true. However, do you know that the transportation, the waterborne transportation, transporting people, passengers on the waterways, represent more than 2.1 billion passengers, is as big as the airline industry.
That's certainly not being talked about by people.
No, but everyone looks at the airplane, but have a look at your waterways. And in many countries, the waterways represent also the drinkable water, and you're polluting the water that you drink. That's what we're talking about. You pollute the fish that you eat. the noise of the engines, it's a very, very big this pollution, noise pollution for the fish. And that has a huge impact on the reproduction of the fish. I was talking with the mayor of Bora Bora. He visited in November. And he said, during the pandemic, 2 years, in 2 years of no more any engines, no more, all these human activity with the dirty diesel engines and the noise of these boats. And the regeneration of the ecosystem was incredible. They have seen fish they did not have seen since years. It all regenerated, just the silence.
Mm. Yeah, it's a good point. It's something that people are becoming a lot more aware of. Certainly for around whales, it's becoming something people are very aware of, but it does affect all sorts of fish. So I think that's a very good point. It is, and it is wonderful being on an electric boat that's moving silently. But you said fast ferries. Fast ferries, they have a lot of wake and they make a lot of noise just by moving through the water. So how does MobyFly help with that?
Thanks to the foils. And of course our engines, but that are silent. So it's really, as I told you before, it's what we aim to is high performance and low consumption. And it's not just low consumption, I would say even low noise, no odor. So that's our aim. It's no wake, no noise, no odor, and no emissions to protect really the ecosystem. And hydrofoil boats are better than regular boats on that. And even if you compare an electric boat and a hydrofoil boat, you have less impact with a hydrofoil boat. And that's our aim. It's really to have a very big impact on our waterways and ecosystem. And it's also our objectives to allow the operators to shift from their boats to zero emission boats without losing the performance and saving the ecosystem. So helping the transition of the operators. And it's not just about technology. It's also about practicality and also about the economical sense for operators, because we cannot just tell operators, look, guys, it's not important as long as you are sustainable, just buy. No.
Yeah, no, you've got people that care about the top line and the bottom line, and they'll be saying, how does this make me money if I'm spending a lot of money buying your new boat? How big do your vessels go? What sort of sizes are you planning on doing?
Well, we have developed a technology platform, scalable technology platform that can be scalable in terms of use and scalable in terms of size. And we have defined 3 main sizes. The first one, the small one, is the one that is sailing now on Lake Geneva. So it's 12 to 20 people. Next version can go to up to 30 people. The actual one is 12 to 20. And that is mostly designed for hotels, shuttle, transportation, but more, I would say, dedicated to tourism, to sustainable tourism and transportation. Then we have the medium size that can handle between 60 to 120 passengers, and the large one can go from 300 to 350 passengers with double deck.
Okay. And is that still foiling? That's still being fully foiled and all the benefits?
Yeah. Why is it important to foil or to get out of the water? Because since you lift the boat above the water, you don't have anymore any frictions, no resistance. So your energy consumption drops significantly. We save up to 95% compared to a traditional boat, non-foiling. So it's very important to take off, to have these energy savings. And if we save energy, we have a longer range with less batteries, etc., etc. It's not, sustainability is not just about having an electric boat. It's more than that. It's also not using more energy than needed to do things. The best energy is the one that you do not use.
Excellent. Yes. And so does that affect the materials you're building the boats out of? Are they carbon fiber or composite or yeah?
Exactly. To achieve that, we need to be very light. So carbon fiber is definitely the best at the moment, and to still be very light and very strong and very durable, because the goal is that the boat can have a life cycle of 30 to 50 years without any issue. And we want also our boats to be absolutely renewable in terms not only on energy, but also on the boat itself, to have no obsolescence. So when we bring another very efficient technology, for example, batteries, we can replace them. You don't need to have another boat. You don't need to, we can upgrade the boat. It can become better and better with time, like wine, you know?
Yeah, I think we used to see this with diesel engines, but the important thing was that you could replace your diesel engine over time. And electric motors, we don't, it's undoubtedly important to be able to replace electric motors if they break. But what we are hearing is lots of people saying the battery space needs to be accessible so we can upgrade the batteries. We can't leave the batteries hidden in difficult to reach places, because we need to be able to upgrade them over time.
Exactly.
Partly for new technology and just partly for when they wear out, we want to put new ones in.
Or if you need to replace a cell, because according to the technology you use, you can just replace a cell, not all the battery. So, and we know, I had a question from financial partner that told me, but do the operator worry about the electric engine technology? It's new, and no, it's not new.
No, that's the interesting thing. It's not like it's experimental or
It's not.
No.
Here in Geneva Lake, we have electric boats, passenger, that are running since more than 20 years.
Oh, there you go.
No issue, nor security issue, nor any maintenance problem. They run all the day, back and forth, 24 hour, no problem. Seven days.
There is one of the things that has been a hiccup getting electric foiling vessels into commercial use in Australia has been a need to have class approval from a classification society. Is that something that MobyFly is seeking to do for your vessels?
Definitely, we work on certified boats. Even the first prototype have been certified by Bureau Veritas, and we have worked both with DNVGL and Bureau Veritas, BV. Certification is definitely a challenge, because the certification bodies are not used to certify hydrofoil boats, zero emission hydrofoil boats for transportation, but they have quite advanced these 2-3 years because first they have no choice. The transition is here and people want to make it. And they have started with people like us, like, you know, and now they have more maybe tools to evaluate in a correct way and estimate the real risk and not the
not all the hypothetical worst case scenarios. And
yeah. I mean, we are testing the boat since December 22 concretely. We have been through the 4th season, from very low temperatures to very high temperatures, waves, quite without waves, etc.
So I'm from Australia, so we have very high temperatures here, 38 degrees today, actually, in our summer, which is considered a heat wave. Do you get up to 38 degrees in Switzerland?
Yeah, last summer, we even went over. The peak, I think, was 44, something like that.
Oh, wow.
And at that time, in the boat, one day it was closed and we have hit 55 in the boat. And
that's actually interesting because the flash point of diesel fuel in Europe is 55 degrees. So if you're hitting 55 degrees inside, if that was a diesel engine, you would be at risk of the fuel catching fire, which is normally not a problem in diesel. But yeah, that's a very interesting, that's an interesting number to hit.
We hit it 55 degrees. Of course, you have some reactions of the electronic, but since our engines are in the water with a cooling system, naturally cooling water, so we had absolutely no issue with the engines, but we had the electronics somehow at a certain point was like we had all
you'll find the weak spots at 55 degrees. Things.
And then the electronic became crazy, like, okay, you know, because we manage with the software and we had plenty of alerts from the software. Oops, I see problems here and problems here. But then when the temperature went down, because we opened, of course, you sail, you open a little bit the door and the temperature goes better. But well, we experienced very, very high temperatures. So we have seen also what problems we can have at that kind of temperatures. So we have also worked on the solutions for the commercial version of our vessel. And that's what is amazing, to have a prototype. You are not just on theory, you have a dynamic test, and you can then reflect it on your digital twin, and you can improve the versions.
Have you, with the range of your ferries, are you looking at fast charging it at endpoints of the runs? For if you're doing, 0 to 50 kilometers, then there's obviously a need to, as you shuttle back and forth, think about charging, or at least top up charging. Is that something that you've dealt with? What do you think is going to happen?
So when we started designing MobyFly, we started a design with some objectives. First of all, don't reinvent the wheel if it exists. And I told you, at MobyFly, it's not just about technology, it's about practicality and economical sense. So we have directly said that charging must be as standard as possible. The EV, the automotive industry, have done a lot of improvements. So let's take that, and they will continue improving. So let's get inspired by the automotive industry. They are doing very well. Take the best of it, put it on the boat.
The megawatt charging standard, the MCS that's coming out for trucks, perfect for large vessels.
I mean, we have designed our vessel to be working with a standard EV charging station. So actually, I can send you a photo. I have my Tesla charging with the same charger as the boat.
Okay.
I mean, Don't reinvent the wheel. Why we do that? Because when a municipality invests in charging stations for their cars and vehicles, they can use the same for the boats. Don't need to invest twice, invest once and have multiple use. That is also sustainability. It's, again, think about the overall system, not just about the boat. We always think about the overall ecosystem around it, to have renewable energy, to have easy charging, fast charging also, and bi-directional charging, because some of our clients in the islands might use the boat as a charger.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting idea. Yeah.
So it's both ways, because sometimes you need the grid and sometimes the grid might need you.
Yeah,
so
I
you
heard
have to be capable of giving to the grid. And we work a lot with our partners like Planair, for example, on all the renewable energy that we can bring to the boat. Again, not go to the grid, have less impact, as small impact as possible.
Definitely. So where will we see the first MobyFly ferries? You're building, obviously you're building a prototype in Switzerland. Where are your first customers based? Any in the Southern Hemisphere? I've got to ask, because we'd love to find out there's some here, but or are they all in Europe and Northern Hemisphere?
No. The first one will not be sailing in Europe, actually.
Oh, good.
No, the first one is in Switzerland, of course. It's our prototype, and welcome on board. You can test it. Today, our prototype is our dynamic laboratory, so to improve our future versions. The first ones will be in Polynesia, in French Polynesia.
Oh, that's very close to us. Okay.
Yeah, you can go enjoy the best, one of the paradisiac islands, and be visiting a very, very spectacular islands with a beautiful ecosystem. And these islands definitely want to protect their ecosystem, because they have been made even more aware after the pandemic. Because they have seen 2 years of pandemic and stop the engines and the dirty diesel, and all the fish came back.
So they don't want to stop that. Yeah, definitely. And I did see there was some Japanese interest in MobyFly.
We are in advanced discussions. So as maybe you know, we have won the Hack Osaka in 2022, and we have won the prize of JITRO Expo 2025.
Excellent.
So that gave us fantastic visibility in Japan. And we had articles and that created awareness, and brought us people that just recently the representative of the city government of Tokyo came and tested our boat, and have seen from Japan, okay, how does it work? Does it really work? Is the boat really stable, or is it just a render? And they have been actually with us 12th of January, and the waters were quite, challenging. And the boat was perfectly stable. And they were, wow. We love the effect.
Yeah. That would be excellent. Well, I think that's the benefit of having that prototype, to be able to put clients on it and say, if you want to see what it's like, there's one working here. And I know that lots of people that are making large boats are You know, you have to wait. It takes a couple of years to build a big boat. It doesn't happen overnight.
No.
Having that smaller boat that you can show people is really good. So,
And it's not so small. It's, you know, it's more than
yeah,
10
well,
meters.
12 to 20 people is not a small
Or,
boat.
yeah, of course, compared to 60 passenger, a small boat. But what is important for operators, for our clients, our investors, they come in on board, they test it. And it's real. It's not a render. It's not a maybe. It's not about something that will come. No, it's here. It exists. This is our first version, and it's proven that it works.
So
that's
I did hear a quote from you that I wanted to ask you about as well, which was saying that the most important thing for MobyFly is not turnover or profitability or market share, but our contribution to shifting the transport market towards zero emission solutions. And you talk about in that your aspiration is to one day be used on 800 passenger ships.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see the journey ahead for MobyFly? How do you go from where you are today, a 12 meter, 10 meter long prototype, to something much larger?
It's not saying, well, I will precise the code. It doesn't mean that we cannot be profitable. It's also an objective because bottom line, again, it's not just about technology. It's not just about sustainability. It's also about practicality and economical sense. And if we want to be profitable, we need to take into account all these elements. And of course, our DNA is sustainability, is to help to make the transition. It's to have the biggest impact possible. And that's why we target first the transportation market and not the leisure market, because the professional marine industry represents globally around 95% of the emissions, while the leisure is between 4 and 5. So where do you put your efforts? And we have decided to put our efforts on what would bring the biggest impact to sustainability. And then profitability, of course, will come, but it's not, we could have been profitable also with leisure boats, but we would not have the same sustainability impact.
No, they might get used an hour or two a week, and commercial vessels might get used 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. So yeah, there's a very big difference there.
So it's choosing where you want to make an impact. And for MobyFly, what is really important, it's really to have the major impact on sustainability. And doing well your job, it means taking care of the operator constraints and practicality, and designing not technology for technology, but technology to be used by people that will use it daily with constraints. That will make us profitable. But that's why it's not profitability. It's not a goal on itself. It's a consequence of doing the things in the right way.
Yeah. There's a lot of ferry operators that are waiting until they need to change their fleet to bother changing. What would you say to someone who'd be nervous about moving early and maybe replacing a fleet that currently works, that burns diesel, sure, but you know, no one's telling me I have to change? What would be your message to them about is it something they should be worried about, a very big capital expense to make a change?
I think the first thing I would tell to this operator is, as long as you wait, as long as you will lose a first mover advantage. And what is a first mover advantage for the operators? The first one is the carbon credits. I give you a short example. Today in Switzerland, just to take a concrete case, we know that our client until 2030, they can benefit from the carbon credit. And just for the small boat, 12 to 20 passenger on short distance between Bouvray, Montreux, they can have per boat per year 50K of carbon credit. Okay?
Mm.
So that means that the first mover will have these carbon credits for sure. After 2030, not sure anymore. So investing early, it's also taking advantage of these carbon credits to help you make the transition possible. It's benefiting sometimes in some countries, even benefiting from grants that help you invest. So there's a lot in terms of finance that can be an advantage to move first, and that you would lose by investing after the others. In terms of commercial advantage, the clients today and more, and not only the young generation, even our generation, will prefer sailing in a zero-emission boat. I mean, like I told you, you are in Capri, one of the most scenic places in the world. And you get in that ferry with a white t-shirt, you go out with a black t-shirt. It smells like hell, it's dirty, and you're in one of the most fantastic places in the world.
It's,
you know what?
It's definitely letting the experience down if it's dirtying your clothes. That's not what you want in Capri.
I mean, you know what? I have, an offer with a zero-emission ferry and a dirty diesel ferry. You know what? My choice is done. I came until this fantastic place. I want the experience to be full. And again, it's about experience, but it's also about cost savings, not just sustainability. Running an electric boat, divide your cost, operational cost, by 4 to 5.
Mm.
It's like with your car. It's exactly the same as for between a thermic car and an electric car.
Yeah, that total cost of ownership really does matter.
Yeah.
I had a business owner tell me the other day that they thought the only people doing this were doing it because there were grants and there was money available. And they said that's the only thing that makes it feasible. I said, yeah, sure. But do you want to let them get the grants and get the money available and them do it and you don't? Or do you want to be part of moving forward? If you know it's where the future's going, get there early, I think is the solution.
I mean, first of all, it's always either you follow or you're pioneer. In general, the pioneer take the market before the others. And at a certain point, depending on the countries, you will have to pay taxes. And that will have a big impact on your operational cost. So in terms of total cost of ownership, we have seen that the energy consumption is linked directly to the energy cost. So that's what makes the boat profitable. It's not just about sustainability. It's also about profitability. It's also about practicality. That we put in the equation, we put it all. For us, it's not just about technology. We want to be sure that the operator at the end will say, wow, I've taken the right decision because my margin now is increasing. Small example, we have done for the Polynesian case, our client have made all the with an engineer and CO2 consultant. It's not, the calculation has not been made by MobyFly. He will save 240 euro per year per boat in terms of energy cost compared to today. And he would save 300 tons of CO2 per boat on the same route.
Well, that's a win-win, isn't it? That's a good, yeah.
So you save climate and you increase your customer's experience and you save money on the energy side. So, and even in the maintenance, we go from 25% maintenance cost to less than 5%. Because when you have an engine motor, again, like the car, doesn't cost nothing. I mean, you improve your profitability with sustainable boats. Why do you don't want to change?
Yeah.
What is the hurdle? Okay, you want to stay with your old dirty diesel boats? Okay, but at a certain point, you will lose the market and you will have to pay taxes. And all the money that is today available to help the shift will not be anymore when you will decide.
Yeah, definitely.
It's your choice, but moving in this field, late move will have a huge cost.
I agree. I think it's definitely there. Well, Sue, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. I will just finish with one thing. Operators might think, yes, but it's a new technology. We don't have enough expertise, experience on that. Let us see how it goes, right? Yeah, electric motors. Guys, on Geneva Lake, we have transportation boats. Okay, it's not foiling. However, it's electric engines running since more than 20 years, 7 days a week, 12-hour a day, and no issue.
Yeah.
So we have years of, information and return on experience. So don't be afraid about electric. You will save money and you will save your ecosystem. So good for your pocket and good for Earth.
Sounds good. Well, Sue, thank you very much for your time today. Have a great day. And I look forward to hearing more about MobyFly in the coming years, and maybe in French Polynesia actually traveling on one.
Yeah. Next year, plan your trip to the French Polynesia to experience. Meanwhile, welcome on board on Geneva Lake. We have a beautiful lake and wonderful mountains. So you can both experience going into the water and go maybe ski and hiking.
That sounds like a very good idea. Okay, thank you, Sue.
Welcome. Bye.